this part could go in no other place but the last video of the series. So we're talking about how we summarize, how we sum up. So we usually think of summarizing kind of at the end of the whole thing, like we're doing now. If it's a novel, we might summarize each chapter, for instance. But sometimes we may be reading something more complex, and summing up more often will help you retain what you read. I usually take my subdivisions and write a plain English version of what it says, string them together, and then I have a summary. I can do it in bullet points because it makes it really, really clear and keeps it in sequence. So the first thing I do is I'm going to put parts in my own words. And it doesn't have to be formal. If my feet were cast in icy bounds, I realize bound with frost is redundant, so I'm tossing it. With frozen chains, also redundant, so I'm getting rid of that. Difficulties make me sad. Hunger tore at my sea-weary soul. That's easy. I'm going to keep that. No man living peacefully and happily can feel how wretched I was. Drifting through winter on an ice-cold sea, surrounded by sadness, alone in a world with no love, hung with icicles, the hailstorms flew. All right, so I'm going to trim that down a little bit. No man living peacefully and happily can feel how wretched I was. Drifting alone through winter on an ice-cold sea, surrounded by sadness, alone in a world with no love. All right, that's doable. I can probably even trim that more if I want to. So here's what I end up with. I was chained up with icy chains and it made me sad. I make it really simple here. I was really hungry. You have no idea how pathetic I felt, drifting on an ice-cold sea, alone, hung with icicles. The hailstorms flew. Now, we lose some of the nuances of it a little bit, but I feel like I understand it a little bit better. The second thing I do is I start looking at how often do I need to sum up? How much should I summarize? My general guideline here is it depends on the text. If it's complicated, I do it often. If it's pretty easy to read or easy to follow, less is okay. Now, when in doubt and when practicing, more is better. So I'll take something like this. And since it's an essay, I don't have to summarize as much. But it's still important, and this is the first paragraph, so I got to make sure I've got a good grounding on it. These are the times that try men's souls. A part-time soldier runs away when it gets tough, but those who stay deserve respect. It's not going to be an easy fight, but the bigger the fight, the bigger the win. If we get it too easily, we don't value it. Heaven knows how to put a proper price on its goods, and it would be strange if so. Heavenly an article as freedom should not be highly rated. That one is almost too much, but for now, since this is kind of short, I'm going to leave it alone. Britain says they have a right to do what they want to us, and if being bound in that manner isn't slavery, then I don't know what is. Okay, again, I didn't reword all of it, just enough to make sure I got the gist of it. Wanting that much power is disrespectful to God, for so unlimited power can only belong to God. Okay, that one, pretty easy rephrase. Now, with that, I feel like I've got the general idea and I can move on to the rest of the essay. Now, sometimes, especially when we're dealing with a technical document or a research paper, that kind of summing up, what I usually try and do is I try and approach it differently. I try and answer the big questions first. Like I'll try and answer, well, what do we know now? And what do we need to learn? I'll try to answer, how are we going to learn it? And that's usually going to take me to the methods. And I'm, for now, just going to stay at the first little overview. Then what did we learn? That'll be later in the paper. And I'm going to try and answer those. And then I'm going to kind of build my understanding and my summaries around that. All right. So to sum up, what I generally try and do is put it in my own words, delete again. Then I figure out how big of a section am I going to take at a time. And then I'm going to try and answer the big questions. So hopefully this has made it a little easier and gives you a couple tools other than just, read it. And hopefully we've got some other ways to get to the finish line here and get these documents understood. So thanks for your time and attention. Appreciate it, and see you soon.